Okay, so what I want to do this time around, I want to do a quick little UV tutorial. I'm going to go open up my little UV editor here, and I'm going to show you first my little trick, and then there's something that a student pointed out to me that has to be looked at called the Auto UV Unwrap tool. Okay, great. So first off, typically what I do, by the way, this window opens, the only thing I really worry about in here is just make sure that's sitting on one. And I usually either minimize this or put it on the side. And we're looking at this piece of geometry here. My UVs aren't laid out. Okay, what I'm going to do, let's just isolate it for a moment. And I always come in here and hit camera based. And then after I hit camera based, I start figuring out where I want to break my seams. And so if I go in here, let's see, will this one loop for me? Yeah, and then by the way, there's I put these little buttons on the shelf. That's under View, Custom Shelf, and you can hold down Control and Shift and make your own little shelf. Recreate your shelf. There, and I could cut that one, and probably cut this back here. Okay, and as I'm cutting it, you can see the lines are getting thicker. If I close this window, you see the lines go away. As soon as I open it up again, pops open, this thing comes up, annoys the hell out of me, and I make it go away. Here, I'm just going to go in here, edges, and you can go up here. I'm using the cut here, Control X, or Shift X rather, is the hotkey. You can also, when you're doing this, what is the other one? If you're over top of this window and you hold down Shift, there's cut right there. So you can do it any way you want. This top one doesn't need a cut. This one here looks like it does. Now notice too that if I go in here and I double click, it goes through my whole object. But if I was being clever, and I'm pretty sure it's this one right here, I'm just going to double click here. Yeah, it'll only go between the two edges of the shell, and then I can cut it. Sometimes that's to your advantage. And let's see, this one here is going right through the middle. Which one's that? So if I went there, you can see it right here, double click. Come on, you bastard. Let's hit one and double try it again. Yeah, see, it only went to this one, cut right through. I guess it decided it wanted to stop down there someplace. Yeah, just going to break that off. I feel that that's going to be a good cut for the neck here. Oh, by the way, maybe I should do this. If I go in here and I put symmetry on, and I put it on, in my case, World X, so I can have those two selected. I notice sometimes this will slow down the UV editor when you're doing UVs, so just beware. I'm just going to cut this off. This is a big area right here. I might make sure these are smaller later on. Okay. And how do I feel about that? I'm going to say that's fine. I'm not going to get too worried about it. And when I'm looking down at the sides, if I double click, you see it goes right through again. But if I go down here and I know that's the one I want, there, it'll stop when it hits that edge there. Looks like there's one there I somehow clipped and I wasn't paying attention. Cut. I'm just going to sew that one back together again. There's another one right there. Come on. Sew! Remember, that's under cut and sew. Okay, and then I went down here, and this is all cut up. Remember, too, that you can come down here, and I get these edges here. I can cut those. You know, if you didn't want to cut them, the other thing you could do is just grab these faces. And if I just take those faces and I go back here to UV's camera base, that just clips it right off, and it looks like I picked something I didn't want. And there we go, deselect, try it again. UV camera base, boop, there. Okay, so there's different ways you can totally do it and make it work. You know what, I'm going to say it's good enough. I'm not going to get too worried about this thing down here. I could, actually, it's this crease down here makes me think maybe I should be a little bit more diligent. Okay, right there, cut that. Great. Okay, great. We'll say that's good. And so I've cut it all up. And then if I go here to UVs, and make sure I select everything, and I go into Modify, Unfold. There, so they're unfolded in 0 to 1. If I go to Modify and I use Layout, I typically like Legacy, World, and put this on Rotate Free, and it'll rotate around for me, and then I'll get some better values out of this. Then what I can do is, let's see, these pieces, no one is going to see. Oh, by the way, I got symmetry on. Let's turn that off. Boop. No one's going to see those. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scale them down. Make them tiny. Okay. And anything else in here that's bothering me? That should be okay. Actually, everything did a nice job of the way it's straightened up here. Okay, sometimes they'll be on their sides and I have to rotate them. And I'm just going to go here and I'm going to turn World off. I'm going to put the prescale back to none. And I'll grab everything and I'll hit apply. And I thought that would give me a better version of this. Actually, what if I go in here and I'm just going to manually do it? Let's scale this up a little bit. And I think if I put this here, and I'm just going to double click to deselect that one. Maybe it was being smart. Yeah, because I can't fit these two together like that. Okay, let's leave them alone. Actually, it still feels like if I went like this. Oh, I'm thinking too much. Still a little bit cloudy in the head. Let's go like this, like that. There, and I think if I center those and then I scale them up so I can get them close to the edge, and just maximize my UVs a little bit more, and then I'll just take this and let's push this here, just deselect that, and yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, great. Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay, so that's simple UV layout, and that took me like 7 minutes on that one there. Okay, and by the way, I've got a bunch of history on here. I've got this bound to something. Remember that if you go in now and you go Edit, Delete by Type, Non-Deformer History, whoop, keeps all my binding and everything like that. Okay, wonderful. Let's bring these back. Let's try another one. Let's take this piece right here. And this piece, when I grab it, let's try bonus tools, UV editing. One of my students, Raphael, mentioned this one to me and it was like, at first nah. And then I looked at it and it was like, actually, this is pretty good. Okay, a few little options in here. Enter the tool. So it says add borders. So what I gotta do is figure out where I want my borders. Double click, double click. By the way, I'm picking a simpler piece for this one. There, so these are my borders, and then if I go here, double click, it goes right through. So if I go here to here, double click, add borders. How do I feel about that thing? You know what? I'm not gonna care about that one right there. I'm gonna say it's fine. Yeah, good. And then you go continue. Bloop. Okay. And it says check results in UV editor. Let's go take a look-see-poo. And here I'll just dim that image down. It went in and automatically laid them out for me in the 0 to 1 area. Okay, and then you hit done. It did put a shader on, which I kind of find a little bit annoying, but here, let's try that one more time really quickly here. Let's get rid of that. And so let's grab this one. And if I go into bonus tools, UV editing, auto unwrap. I haven't tried this multiple meshes. I should do that in a second. Okay, enter tool and close. And here I'm just going to go in and isolate that. Of course, it doesn't want to isolate right now. Let's grab it as an object, isolate it. Okay, great. Go in here to edges. And this one here. And there we go, and add borders, and then maybe I'll go from here, here. I'm just deciding how this will unfold best. Where are the spots where I'll see the least amount of seamage? Add borders. Okay, great. And then I go ahead and hit continue. And there, it's chopped it all up for me and organized it. Actually, it doesn't put it into world coordinates. Maybe that was something I wasn't paying attention to. I gotta have to use the UV layout thing on it. Modify, layout. Actually, I think I turned the world coordinates off the layout. Yeah, none, apply. There we go, that's better. Okay, done. So that's pretty simple. I'm just gonna pause for a second. Okay, so I just went back and I checked out something here. I went in and I checked this thing out, the UV editing, auto multi-map meshes. It just puts it just goes in here and uses the automatic mapping on it. It doesn't do anything really special. I also just discovered that you can't do multiple objects at the same time. You have to do one. So there you go. There's a couple of extra UV layout tricks.